we're going to start the Women in Snap panel. We're going to do quick introductions. I'm Felicity.
I'm Kiddalee Chan. Oh my gosh, it's hard. I'm Shir.
I'm Hannah. Hello.
Hello, I'm Pawnee Pun.
And I'm a party.
And we are the Women in Snap. All right, so I don't know if we want to start with a particular topic or not. I think maybe Kiddalee Chan, you've got a topic in mind. You can use this one.
Sure. So one thing that we might want to touch on is balancing gaming and real life. So different things about maintaining a streaming schedule, how that interacts with a work-life balance, and all of that kind of thing.
Does anyone want to start off?
Well, I don't think it's any different between male or female, between balancing gaming or life. I think every streamer has to deal with that.
Any other opinions? Or everyone kind of agrees or has any other experiences?
So, coming from the perspective of a mom, it is very difficult sometimes, especially with like summer and extracurricular activities. Those have to be prioritized over obviously my stuff. So, it is definitely always ever changing, and you really have to be flexible with that flow through your life. And it's okay, it's just a wave, and you'll move on to the next one. So, just being okay with that flexibility.
I guess for me, in terms of the more of like a work-life balance, not so much like a difference in if you're, a woman or a man. I do have a full-time job as well, so I do all of that, and then I feel like sometimes my days are just like insane, and I try to fit streaming in there, and it's only. That's the reason why I don't have a streaming schedule either, and my streams are just spontaneous and like it's just chaotic. But it can be really challenging because I think that because I'm always doing so much, it can be very stressful, and there's days where like I don't really want to stream. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that way.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that as well, especially if I've streamed several days in a row. I feel like my social energy has been a little bit exhausted, and it's different from having like worked in a corporate role where that was more mentally taxing, whereas streaming is a lot of fun, but sometimes like socially I just want to be by myself for a bit afterwards.
Okay, so we can move on to challenges unique to female streamers on Twitch, and that is including things like, navigating online relationships, dealing with unwanted attention, or facing biases in gameplay discussions. So it's kind of a heavy topic, but if anyone has any thoughts on that, you
Okay. Yeah, I think it's very healthy to set boundaries for yourself. It's very difficult for me actually. I wish I did a bit better in terms of that. Oftentimes I'm too nice, I think, to my chat, especially if they do like sexist comments and stuff. So I wish I would be a bit more strict and ban them straight away and like protect the community and set guidelines and stuff like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh. And I I agree, because it's really hard to find the line between when people are being like, oh, fun and everything's normal and maybe you're just joking, and then it'll be sort of insidious and someone will just be pushing things a little too far, and then you realize, oh, it's just because I'm a woman and they're assuming that they can like walk all over me and that they get to decide what I'm doing with my stream. They get to decide who gets to be there, and it's like the expectation from some seemingly, I mean, I guess I don't know for sure, but who often seems like male viewers. It's definitely something that, like, I agree with Hannah, that it's like you have to sort of grow a backbone about certain things and start being firm with your boundaries, because we always need to remember it's like it's our streams, so we can say no to anything. And I think that that's important for a lot of women who stream to remember. We don't owe anybody anything, and neither do men who stream. So you gotta keep those boundaries.
Okay. Yeah, another thing is definitely along the line of boundaries is setting the tone in your stream. So I try to keep things as wholesome as possible, and then sometimes people will come in and say something a little strange, and I have to be like, oh, we don't do that here. It's rated E for everyone. And sometimes things can get a little bit testy, but I think it's important to like make sure to shut that down and then move on, so that the chat keeps it moving as well. No one's like having a bad vibe, and that way you get to be in control. A lot of things with privacy are also a huge concern, so definitely with sexist comments and things, like sometimes you'll get angry messages afterwards. I just keep those messages off or leave my DMs closed, but definitely safety and privacy are really important as female streamers.
Yeah, this goes along with privacy. There's a difference between getting to know someone and then being invasive, because like if let's say you're living alone, you don't want to. We get asked a lot, where do you live? And I try to be as general as possible. But I've been comfortable with the Marvel Snap community to be like, oh yeah, I'm from this area. But I know if someone doesn't want to disclose where they're living, it's important just to let them. Don't pry. Just don't ask anymore, and they will tell you the information they want to tell you. Yeah, boundaries and all that.
I'm interested how you deal with people who make comments about your appearance, just in general, because I never know how to deal with it. Is that normal? Is it just because we are women? So yeah, how do you deal with that? I never know how to react.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and that was something I was gonna ask as well, because some people are like coming in to be nice, right? They say, "Oh, you look so pretty today," and sometimes it feels a little, it is nice, but it feels a little irrelevant when you're like trying to play a video game and like there's people coming in, oh my gosh, like, and they just talk about your appearance only, and we work really hard to like make our streams entertaining. We work hard to improve our gameplay and everything, and then that, someone comes in and says something that's just based on appearance, and they don't really care about anything else. That can feel kind of, it's, I don't know. I know it's nice, but sometimes I'll either just ignore it, or I might just say thanks, but I won't go any farther than that. Depends on what mood I'm in.
Yeah, and I agree. I've had the same thing where it's like if people are saying something like that, it's like I try to either just completely ignore it, or if they keep saying it, I just say like thanks. It's like the gray rock technique. It's like, yeah, it feels really necessary sometimes, but I'm always like I always try to like not look too good when I'm streaming either. I'm like I don't want to look like hot. Like, I don't want people to not take me seriously. So it's like a fine line, because you want to like look nice when you're streaming, but you don't want to be looking so good that people don't take you seriously at all. But it's like you can't look bad, so you have to look right. And it's hard. Like you said, it's hard to find the right balance.
I would like to add to that just that, like Felicity had mentioned, when people do come into the chat and they're like, oh, you look cute today, either ignore it or if it's something like just not as invasive or not as out there, I guess. Because some people can definitely go too far or keep going and keep prying. And like you guys mentioned, like just shutting it down. I think that's setting that boundary of thank you, but let's keep it, you know, you wouldn't do that to a man. You're not, hey, you looking hot today. So it's just, we want to be treated the same in that respect, with the same respect that you would give to any other Twitch streamer.
I guess we can go into our next topic, empowerment through gaming and streaming. You know, discussing the value of gaming content creation as a means to build confidence, community, and self-expression. So how has streaming impacted you?
Yeah, I feel. Sorry. I feel like for me. Okay. Okay, does that work? All right. For me, it's definitely been a really good confidence builder to do streaming stuff, to realize, like, especially in competitive card games where a lot of times there's a focus on just like being number one or whatever. I feel like it's important to have another space within these games and show like you can also just play for fun and make like wacky decks and like, and you could, that kind of gameplay and enjoyment of a game is still valid and welcome to be on places like Twitch and YouTube and in the streaming space. So I feel like, yeah, it's important to have room for different types of content.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would call myself a really casual streamer, not sweaty or competitive at all. But I feel like sometimes there is a slight pressure to be always good. And but I think Marvel Snap also does a good job with making sure that it's not too competitive. Like, you don't have to be the top 100 or top 500 to be part of events, which I think Marvel Snap has done a really good job with supporting streamers that are more on the casual side.
So for me, I think building a community on Twitch has been really awesome. I started streaming about a year ago, and I think it's so cool how each person's different Twitch community has like its own subculture. It's so much fun, and I think interacting with everyone else's community is also really cool. It's like, it's fun with your own community, but then whenever one of you guys comes into my chat, I'm just like, yes! And there's something really cool about like, almost like a Snap sisterhood kind of thing. Because most of our viewers are male dominated, it's just awesome to see other females in the space.
Yeah, it's definitely nice because you can relate to other women and we face like the same kinds of challenges, like how we just mentioned, you know, people coming in and saying inappropriate things and stuff like that. So I feel the same way. It's really fun to like see, you know, us like visiting each other's chats and stuff. So it's definitely empowering. Go ahead.
I will say, Marvel Snap, I've come from a lot of card games and a background of board games and competitive play, and honestly, we show up. We show up for each other. Like, this community shows up more than any other community I've been a part of. More than Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic. Yes, there will always be their toxic parts, but we really show up to each other's streams, to everybody, all the creators here. Like, we really have this tight-knit community, and it's amazing to watch it grow and supporting each other.
Absolutely. Do you guys have any other specific topics that you would like to talk about? If not, then I was also wondering, like, do you have any crazy stories that you can share, like of viewers coming into your channel or like DMing you or anything like that? If you're comfortable sharing. I always find that it's kind of, I don't know, it's fun for me to hear stories like that because I have some of my own, so I just want to know your stories.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, if it's like cathartic to sort of get it out a little bit, like, yeah, I definitely have my DMs off for a reason now because I've got a few of the like I'm touching myself right now while I'm watching you and blah blah blah, and it's like this would feel like a regular viewer, and then I'm like, okay, goodbye. This is why you turn off DMs, and then people being like, I have my emails for business inquiries, and people be like, this is a business inquiry. Like, send me like pictures of yourself. Send me pictures of your feet. And it's like that's not the kind of business I was talking about. But I appreciate the effort, I guess. But I don't want anything to do with that. So I find that kind of funny, I guess.
Yeah, the wildest DM I got was like, I got questioned whether I was still married or not because they didn't see my ring, although I wear my ring every time I stream. So I don't hide that I'm married. I talk about it if it comes up, but I'm not always reminding chat that, yes, I'm married. Look, I have a ring. It's not my job to constantly let y'all know I'm married. Like, but if it comes up, it comes up. And I'm not hiding it. I will talk about my husband all day, but I'm not gonna be like, look, I got a ring. But like, that's not my job to keep doing that for y'all to, I don't know. So I was like, I saw that message. I was like, what the heck? And then instant block. I was like, oh no.
Maybe this is an inappropriate one, but this was way back when I first started streaming. I was like in my early 20s, and like I didn't really know like the world of Twitch back then. This was back in like 2012 or something, a long time ago. And this person DM'd me and they're like, can I be your money slave? And I was like, what? What is that? And they're like, yeah, like you just demand me to donate money to you and like I will donate, and that just gets me off. And I was like, okay, no, this is like so creepy. I've never heard of anything like that, but yeah, there's all kinds of weird people out there. But
Without going into any stories, all I'll say is there's a reason that I'm wearing closed-toe shoes all weekend.
I don't have any crazy stories, but I think it just goes to like if people are interested in getting started in this, to make sure that you're protecting yourself up front. Like you said, closing your DMs or whatever you're comfortable with, but just knowing that unfortunately this is a part of the game, and no matter what game you're playing on Twitch, it's just a part of streaming. And yeah, protect yourself always, and always your mental health first.
I think it would be cool to shout out some other women streamers in the community. I would like to start with Star. Star Chan, who's also sitting here in the first row. I've been really enjoying your streams, and yeah, you just have a very kind, how do you say? Help me with the words. Yeah, I love you too. And yeah, just very chill atmosphere, and you're so kind, and shout out to you. If you want to follow her, her username is StarChan, I think, with 3 R's. Yes, okay. Of course. Do you want to shout out someone else within the community, maybe? Do you want to?
maybe we can take a question from the chat. Do you see the overall lack of text and voice chat in Snap as a positive as female gamers in terms of automatically blocking that facet of toxicity, or are you open to it having already dealt with it in other games for years? So it means because Snap doesn't have text or voice chat in the game, is that a positive thing? Because it blocks that? Or are you more open to it having been exposed to it enough already, like very often?
I think the emotes in Snap are more than enough for me.
I think it does help without, uh, although I think for me personally, maybe I have I've been gaming for a really long time, so I have gotten kind of used to it, and I'm able to block it. I think I have pretty thick skin when it comes to like online, like hearing that stuff is I'm just like kind of immune to it. But at the same time, there are some games where it gets so toxic and like the thing I hate the most that really like pisses me off is like when I'm playing like Counter-Strike and like they're just like, "Oh, you're just going to be bad cuz you're a girl." And then I actually play bad. And I'm like, "Oh god, I just proved their point." Like that pisses me off more than anything. But I hate when they say that. It makes me feel like I have to be better and try harder. But I don't know if you guys have dealt with something like that.
That is definitely similar with like shooter games. Any dude who hears a female on the other side, they're like, "Oh, you suck because you're a girl," and it's like, "Wow, you didn't even give me 5 seconds to play in a game with you. Let's go off of what we're actually providing rather than just assuming," which that's frustrating. So I am happy that Snap does not have any format of that. Yeah, emotes are enough.
Okay. We also have uh, interested to know how limited the streamers feel in regards to criticism of the game. I'm not sure what that one means. Sorry. Okay. Any other specific topics that you guys want to dive into?
I think we make up not a lot of the community, but we have strong voices. And I think as Snap and other industries start to see that more, it would be nice to have more seats at the table, especially for tournaments, company-founded events, things like that. I think it's important that we're also represented. There is representation, but I would love to see more of it.
Absolutely. Do you feel like there's still, do you feel like games still treat women like they still have the viewpoint that women are not as good as like men? And is there a bias still when it comes to like including women in things like tournaments and things like that?
Yeah, I read an article about something like this a couple years ago. It was about the tournament scene in chess, actually, and that the average ELO, like the ranking of female players, is much lower than the ones of men. But that's only because a lot more men play the game, so it's kind of normal that the ELO is lower than that. But a lot of people just have the opinion that women are just worse, and it doesn't make sense at all. So, yeah. I also can second that representation matters. If you don't see any other women participating in tournaments, you don't think that you actually belong to the group and can do something else, can do something similar. So, yeah, that's it.
I will say, I think the women of Snap are pretty vocal about when we see things unfair in the community. I won't name any big events in particular, but I'm pretty sure we all know of a couple. And so I think we're really good at calling them out when we see those things, and that's the biggest step, is getting other people to support us in our voices that we're providing to the Second Dinner and other communities as well.
Yeah, I said something wrong. It's not the average ELO of the chess players, it's that in the top 10 are no women players at all. So that is because there are not a lot of players, female players. So that's the reason, sorry.
Do you guys feel like Snap is a good game for women to get into?
Yeah, I actually my mom I got my mom into Marvel Snap, and like I feel like, I mean, I've played games like Legends of Runeterra and Magic the Gathering or whatever. Like I'll go into those more detailed card games, but I feel like Marvel Snap has the unique ability that someone like my mom, who's never played that kind of game, can understand it pretty easily. Because even the snapping mechanic, it's like similar to betting in certain games, and so she's like, you know, when she's like at the car wash, she's like, oh yeah, I was playing some games while I was waiting for my car, and so I feel like it has a really low barrier to entry, so it's a great way to get more people into competitive card games like who otherwise wouldn't be. And so, yeah, I think that's something that's really unique that Snap has, like the accessibility, not to mention the fact that it also has Marvel characters that a lot of people are already very familiar with. So people are like, oh, I know Spider-Man. And then, you know, it's easy to get people into gaming and have it not be as scary as if it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's like a 27,000 monsters you could have. So, yeah, I think that's something unique with Snap for sure.
I'm curious to know how you guys each got into Snap.
For me, a friend of a friend played it, and I thought it was something cool to get into. I actually started streaming just like me talking to myself with no viewers. And then I was like, all right, what game should I play? And that was one of the first ones I tried.
Well, I got into Snap because I'd been streaming Pokemon Go Battle League at the time, and I was just, Marvel Snap came out, and I'd been casually playing it, and then I was like, wait a second, I should just stream this because I have a lot more fun with this game. So I kind of just had been trying a lot of different card games, and I was like, oh wait, this actually speaks to me, and I could play this for hours on end every day. So Snap it is.
I used to play Hearthstone before, and I just heard that Ben Brode, who formerly worked on Hearthstone, is now creating a new card game, and that's how I got into Snap, basically. And then I just started streaming because I wanted to do something out of my comfort zone, and I just basically watched streams for like 10 years or so and wanted to try it out myself. Yeah.
I came from Yu-Gi-Oh! I started streaming with Duel Links and then Master Duels, and then someone introduced Marvel Snap to me, and the switch between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Marvel Snap was just so easy to learn because less words to read, not a paragraph to read for each card. So Marvel Snap was like the perfect game for me to switch over to, and now I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! Much since, so Marvel Snap all day.
So I got into Marvel Snap because obviously I saw the same commercial everybody did at the Super Bowl, and then it came out and I played the next week. And then I actually didn't stream before Snap, so it was like about 2 months in, I was like, wow, this community is amazing, watching everybody else play online and learning how to play and be better at the game. And so I jumped right in. So coming from all my previous board games and card games, it was a quick hit. Loved it.
Yeah, and for me, my brother introduced me to it, and I started streaming it the first day, and like the community was just so nice and helpful. Like everyone was very willing to just share like tips and advice and things like that. So I think I fell in love with like the community before I fell in love with the game. So I continued playing it, and then yeah, ever since then I've just always I love playing. Yeah. Any other topics do you guys want to bring up? We're good. Because we are right about at time now. So thank you guys very much. Thank you to all the panelists. And hope you guys enjoyed. And we're going to take a quick break and go into our next segment. So thanks, everyone.